Yeah, Prof here, and we're resuming a little bit later than expected. I drank all my Pocari Sweat. I got a little bit of green tea left from earlier today. I did get the new keycap set put on. I told you guys in the previous video that I would share that with you. Check it out. I think that dandelion set looks quite dandy with the dark wood of my wrist rest. I really need to refinish this guy at some point. And I also had to put away all the Knipex except for, I forgot one. So always one more. Oh, it turns out this is the, for those that watch my Knipex videos, the 0302-200. I have the 0301-200 is the combination pliers I had before. So this is the Comfort version of it, which I don't particularly like the old Comfort grip, but the Nip Extend one is coming, and that is now the last of my original standard Knipex like dipped grips that will be replaced. So those will, some of those need to be warrantied just from use, and they'll end up in my pack out in the garage after that, whereas the toolbox is in the basement. But the reason why we had to clear this area out is because what we're doing is this giant box here, Fragile. And I don't know if this is specific. This was forwarded by, I actually bought it through CD Japan. It had to be proxy shipped because I missed the first batch of these. And this does say FIG, then ML090. That may or may not have an indication of what is in there. I'm using my phone to record the video right now, so I can't very easily cut this computer here. Let's see. It's obviously the size of a box, but I wonder if they have sized it particularly for the type of product that's FIG-ML-090. Box. It doesn't come up, but I would probably have to look that up on Japanese Google. Let's go to Japanese Google. .co.jp pasta. All right. Just says premium cardboard box with something. Well, maybe I'm reading into it too far. Oh, for those, I did finish my green tea while we were looking that up. For those that ever see this, I have the IKEA one. This is actually supposed to be a slot for your coffee cup, so you can put it in here so it doesn't fall, and you can still have the handle sticking out, right? If you ever see my bottles like this, because it fits perfectly, that means they're empty and I need to go. This makes it even more obvious that I need to go and get something else to drink, that I need to throw those out more than likely. And I have been moving all of my clocks up in time by an hour because daylight savings happened. Thought we got rid of that shit. I was wondering, my quest of this is basically my perfect clock. Decently big. I want orange or amber colored because that doesn't hurt my, basically doesn't wreck your night vision and blind me. That guy down there with more info, which is actually bigger, should have had, and if you see this extra stuff that's white, it was supposed to be orange, and it's supposed to all be orange. But they were labeled as orange on orange, and it was, main orange, then white. But it turns out all the orange ones were actually orange-white ones at the Amazon warehouse. That's why I have one of those at work too, because I got refunded for that one. They sent me another one, and it was still wrong. And I had to explain to them that not only the first time, like the first time they didn't send me the wrong thing. I told them that the first time because the Amazon label on the packaging was wrong. This has happened a number of times to me when I want a very specific version. I've been sent desktop or laptop RAM that's labeled as desktop RAM, or the other way around. Because once it gets to the Amazon warehouse, they got an Amazon label it all, and they do it wrong. And then you get sent the wrong thing, and then the first time I can understand, because they're like, the customer doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Often I do know what the fuck I'm talking about, though. So they just resend it, and then it's the wrong thing, and this just extends out. This happened 3 times in a row from 2 different sellers with G-Skill, not Flarex. I ended up just buying Flarex for my grandparents, but I bought Fortis RAM, which is like the lower end that's supposed to be AMD compatible. 3 times in a row. 2 from Newegg, or 2 from Amazon, 1 from Newegg. I got sent Fortis RAM that wasn't AMD certified for AM4, and I tossed it in, and it failed mem test every time. Finally just spent the money because I personally never bought Fortis board. That's supposed to be the cheap version of Flarex. I just bought the Flarex, boom, first time immediately. So I was trying to save like $5-10 because it really did. I'm not gonna say it really did matter, but like we didn't need the Flarex memory, right? So why not save the couple bucks, right? But pain in my ass. But yes, so I was going around setting all my clocks as I was putting stuff away. And here we have this big box. And I would not be surprised because this also says fragile on it, that this box is actually meant for what is inside of here. I have to imagine CD Japan, this is one of the main things that they ship on a regular basis. It is not one of the main things that I buy on a regular basis. Not only is this not one of the main things I buy on a regular basis, I don't believe I have ever bought something in this class before, especially for how much these cost. I have never had the urge or the want to spend this kind of money on this sort of thing before. These came up on I want to say Twitter, or that'd be X. And I was like, holy crap, that design is awesome. I have not seen these anime characters before. Now you're getting probably more of a hint. Where are they from? Like, I want to see. I love that style. Where is this animation from? Is it from a game? Blah, 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 blah. The answer is no. None of that. Get this packing material out of here. And I don't remember if these are proxy shipped or not. They might be. This is... I can look that up really quick. CD. Yeah, all I'm going to say is like... Really liking these dandelion keycaps, looking down at them. More so than the wasabi. No problem with the wasabi, but notice about shipment suspension and delay. Fun. I didn't see that the other day. Or is this still one of the ones left over from January 2025, resumption of air to French Polynesia, no orders over 30 euros, Turkey. Japan Post resumes shipments to Canada Jan 7th. New restriction on Turkey. So yeah, that's nothing. Otherwise, I thought it was still from COVID, but all of that should have been lifted. Because websites still do. They're like, our customer service may be shit because due to like health crisis, and I'm like, bro, it's been like 3 years. Like, that's no excuse. So, payment finalized. Let's see your payment finalized. PayPal, DHL, unavailable. We're far enough back that it's a. Whoop. At least I thought it was a separate page. I can't tell if this is the one or not. I think this is because this is the first one to come out. Sorry about the delay there. Paisley has already shown up. So let's keep pulling this out of here. There's the reason why they're packed so well. And I actually ended up having to pay more for shipping. And to be truthful, they may go straight back into this box once we take a little sneaky peek, because currently I don't know where I would put them. Safely is the key word. The only area, and I would have to clean it off first, is probably on top of that IKEA right there. Eventually, I am going to probably make a shadow box with lighting for these. These are figures. You're like, oh, what's so special with figures? The fact that I never buy them. Never. I have never seen some appeal on some people to have stuff. Especially with Paisley going in the box. Paisley Marie. Kitten in the box. Yeah, you better not go wee in there. We've had issues with that before, where when you get a box full of stuff like this, it gets weed in. Paisley. Paisley Marie. Are you carefully pawing at the cardboard? Yeah? Can I get you out of there? Paisley. Oh, got her out. We're gonna move the box. This is a big box. And like I said, I ended up paying. I don't even remember. Like, I think I had to pay another 130. No, not 130. Be like 13,000 yen. Is what I had to pay on top of what I had already paid for shipping. Now these were gotten, I believe, via proxy service. I would have to. That's what I was trying to double check before. Is, yes, these were done later because I did not know proxy item. So these were done. Both of these were done via proxy service. So in general, I paid more because what I had to do is CD Japan did carry these brand new out of box, but I learned about them too late. I saw it as the second batch of these was going up for pre-order on Twitter, and I immediately did the second batch and the third batch, knowing I might have to even go second hand for the hey you. Knowing I might have even have to go second hand for the purchasing of the first batch because I missed the pre-order. However, CD Japan did have proxy available for these, meaning they go to people in the U.S. or not in the U.S. in Japan that sell these, and then basically buy them from them, or have them find it for you and then buy them from And there's a cost, an additional cost to that, because you're paying for them to go to somebody else rather than like ones that they were already reserved. They're in their own warehouse that they're just shipping to you, right? These are immaculately packaged, double layer bubble wrap. So I had to pay more for that, and then what did I do? I got an email last week, beginning of the week, that said not the item details changed. These got pushed back a number of months too. I think the third set was supposed to be out by now already. So order update. Yeah, so shipping charge went up to 21,000. I had to spend 12,500 more on shipping to get them here. So knock 2 zeros off that. A non-inconsequential number of dollar dues for shipping to get these two over here, in addition to the normal amount of shipping. Like I said, double bubble wrap. To be truthful, I'm probably going to... So this looks to be CD Japan's bubble wrap. This one that we're going to get to next, if you see there's seams there, that to me looks like factory bubble wrap. And as somebody who has never opened these before, yep, you can see it is factory bubble wrap, because they actually have the QR code on the outside of the bubble wrap, which it's also here, right there, right? So we got a bunch of tape to cut here, I think. I'm gonna switch this. This guy's getting a bit dull. With all the stuff we've been doing. Much better, much better. There's so many tapes. So many tapes. Yeah. Always keep a sharp blade. It's, I like these. If you feel like you're getting a resistance, especially when opening up something like this, just swap that bad boy around. And yeah, a box of 50 of these costs like 18 bucks or something. But so what does that end up being? Just say $20, right? So if they're $20 a piece and there's 100 of them, right? So you knock a zero off, or you knock, what is it? You knock 2 zeros off, so they're 20 cents a piece, right? So 40 cents, right, times 50. Oh, that's not right. Is it? Sometimes I double check my brain. Dot 40 times 50, 20. Yep. Hey, look at that. Brain math, guys. That's how you do it. Is you know, because I don't know, in my brain at least, I can't do 18 divided by 50. That's hard math. Even a hard math. And you could do 18 divided by 100 and double it. That would be easier as well. So it's actually more like, instead of 40 cents a blade, it's more like 36 cents a blade. There you go. That's another way of doing it. You multiply up to easier divisible numbers and reverse the multiplication. So, our first one that we got out here, that I may actually put right back in the bubble wrap, is, because like right now I literally do not have a proper place I can put these. Eventually I might have some extra cubes available in the IKEA, where I can have them like 2 per cube or something like that. That might be a vibe. This is Gridman Universe ZOZO Black Collection. And for me, there you go. It says 2023 ZOZOTOWN, which is a... See, I'm not into this sort of stuff. I didn't know that that was like a fashion brand there. Right? And here you can see the cost, you know, and rough cost before the yen being worthless. You know, this would have been, just to say, $217, right? Around $220 roughly. Now with the yen being as weak as it is, it's not that bad, but it's still quite not cheap, right? And then if you toss on there, you know, that I had to, because I got this through proxy service, price go up because I had to pay a cost to get it. Handling fee was actually not that bad, 2,100 JPY. So $20, let's say. You know, in the past, now that's like $12 or something, right? But you can see here, like this style is coming back in some of the like, what do you want to call that? Almost like your grunge and your not emo goth stylization. You know, like a lot of that stuff was in the 90s. We're talking stuff that took a lot of influence from like the Matrix fashion, and the stuff that the Matrix took its fashion from is coming back. And when I saw these, I was floored. Now, I didn't know what Gridman Universe was, and I was initially like, hey, what anime or content media do they look like this in? Because I want to watch it. Like, who made these character designs? Holy shit. Well, this is Gridman Universe. I know Gridman. I know of Gridman Universe. There. Gridman Universe. Very stylized. Right? Black Collection. They call it the ZOZO. I've seen some say ZOZO Black Collection. Black Collection by ZOZOTOWN is like the full Studio Trigger. That might give you some indication of you know, the style of anime that it is. You know, Gainax from back in the day style. How far do we want to open this up right now? That's the question. I may have to do one where I actually pull these out at a later time. Oop, as I whack the camera. Yeah, that's the angle that you guys want, right? Oh my gosh. Even if I pull this out, you're not going to get... There you go. You're not going to get a good indication of the figure. I don't think. They let you see her face, basically. But at least based... Oh, these are actually taped together so they don't just come flying apart. I know people are crazy about their figures. I know some people buy them, know what they are, and never open them up. These will be... I can tell you right now, I'm not going to be that person. Because I might have gotten a figure as a gift at some point, or at a prize at an event at some point, but that was about it. That was not of my own accord, of my own volition. This was the first time this was unique enough, and there's a whole line of them. You'll see that each one is very different. Yet, because of it being like a fashion brand making the clothing designs, they all have a cohesiveness. Like almost think you're like imagine like a J-pop or K-pop group where they all have similar, like there's the ones where they all have the same outfit, bland. But then if you go into the boy band or girl band groups, or the boy and girl band groups, they'll all have similar outfits that work together under the like variations of a theme, let's call it, or variations of a style, right? Oh, we'll get the one that's a little bit more preppy. We'll get the one that's a little bit more, whatever. We'll get the one that's more girly. We'll get the one that's more, uppity. Like that sort of thing. And it similar vibe here, except like, and they designed the styles. I'm guessing. Have not watched the anime yet. This is probably going to make me. And you're like, oh, just because this will, yeah, I want to know like where this comes from. But these designs, these character designs, are literally for this set of figures, which I believe is a thing. Like there are outfits for characters that are exclusive to figures. What this really reminds me of is when you see like an ED, often it's an OP or an ED of an anime that has unique outfits for those characters that are only found in that OP or ED. What I mean by opening and ending of the anime. And what they did is, I remember at some point, like for like One Piece and maybe Naruto, they had some stuff like that. Like sometimes for Bleach, they'll make the alternate outfit, especially for the females, available in other forms. Like you will literally never see it in anything related to the anime except in maybe an art book, or something like that. But then sometimes they will make it into figures, and those I recall being some of the most desirable, like alt art. Like think about it, like Pokemon card, it'd be like the alt art for the Pokemon card, except they make them in the figures. This, as far as I'm aware, does not exist in any other form. I might be wrong. Please correct me, because some of you out there are going to know more either about the fashion brand. I don't know if that has much to do with, like, I mean, obviously they've designed these. But let me know if there are others that are done in this way, where you have like the Black Collection, which is like completely, like different designed and clothing specific to this figure collection only, or like subs of other things. What this style really reminds me of is, if you guys want to go back, like Get Backers, Witch Hunter Robin, Matrix. Obviously, you'll see some more of these, or like the other one I have right now, very heavily influenced I think, by, the, I don't even know here. Let's go at, from Prophecist at CD Japan. Latest. Yeah, ZOZO JP collection. Some sort of display piece. Mix between Get Backers, Witch Hunter, Robin, The Matrix. I want to see, like some of this gets into a bit of grunge or rave scene, or like if you want to spell like techno house as well. But of that 90s, 90s era, if you're running, generally eras when it comes to fashion and trends tend to bleed into like the beginning of the next one. So like this style was still, I would say, very common in like 02, depending on what scene you were in. Stuff like what we consider 80s style fashion actually bled quite a bit into early 90s. Like the bright colors, that sort of stuff, which is often, depending on the colors and what they were on, could be associated with 80s or 90s. So there's not always like a hard delineation, but often it's the end part of a decade that people remember. At least that's my observation. So I just thought these were really, really, really cool, that they had unique like outfits, and I was like, why are those so good looking and so cohesive? And it's because like a fashion design team designed their new outfits. And I will, at a minimum, be putting these back in the factory bubble wrap, if not going all the way back the way they are, because until I find a place for these to go, I want them protected, because they're not cheap. Hopefully you all would understand that. And that is why, like I said, I know I'm not unpacking them all the way. Some people I do know, and it's not uncommon to buy the figure because they are worth the most in the box. You know me. I am not that type of person. By the way, I think they did these right. Holy shit, they did. So, on this, because they know this is going to be wrapped and packaged again, they put the factory bubble wrap has the bubbles on the outside. So many places do that wrong. Genius. Or not like genius, but like, sorry, it's so infrequently that I see that done that way. I just don't want to unbox these and have to rebox them, for one thing. As you can, I don't know if you saw in there, but there were all these pieces of plastic and other stuff that was protecting the, like, and like almost, I don't know if I say shrink wrapped, heat shrinked, or molded right into the plastic that was taped together for the character in the plastic there. I don't want to mess with that. I really don't. Until I'm going to take them out and keep them out, or take them out and mount them. Yeah, the first one was Chise. This one has tapes on the top. This one did not have tapes on the top. So maybe I want to say one of these released before the other one. This one says, 2023 collection, ZOZOTOWN Black collection, 2023 Trigger. I think there was stuff on their website specifically about like how this collection came together and the advertisement. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. All of that's in Japanese. I did not pour through because I was having trouble. Like, I'm like, what the frick is ZOZOTOWN? Because I didn't realize they were like a fashion brand. Like, why would they be making this? Why is this going to be like a um is this going to be like a new either movie or phase, like as or not phase in the anime, like a what do they call that? It's a equivalent arc, like a new arc in the anime, because that's like a classic thing for, I don't know how much that happens nowadays. But back in the day, it was very common for I guess especially in shonen to show stuff that happened. But when you'd hit like, because back in the day, full season anime was not 12 or 13 episodes, it was 26, and often you would hit a split in the middle of it that where it would significantly change tone, because you hit the end of the first arc, you're going to the second arc, and then it'll finish it off. That's almost how all of it was. Now what we get is we get one season, and if it does well, you get a second one. And if they didn't plan for a second one or going on from there, the second one is just like a lot of extra shit, like they're just like, if there was not much fill in the first season, there's going to be a lot of fill in the second one often, from my experience. And I didn't know if this was like a new arc of this, was it going to be like how do you want to say, like, there's been black editions of if you do Sentai stuff too, like think Power Rangers, right? They'll have like different versions of them. If you go into like Sailor Moon, some of that stuff will shift as well. Like into the magical girl genre. Think Cardcaptor Sakura for that as well. If we go back that far, like I didn't know. Like I want to know like what is this? Why do they have these very themed like clothing and character design that is so cohesive and well done? Like how the fuck did I miss this? You know, and so for Gridman Universe, so one, like, because originally I didn't even know, because it's advertised more as ZOZO Black than Gridman Universe, right? And I would have to try and find. And Gridman comes from SSS Gridman, which is a here you go, Super Samurai Cyber with an S Squad Gridman. I believe that would be considered giant robot anime or giant robot based. Do we have genres here? Anime science. They're saying mecha. I would think that actually falls under giant robot, but that's like the predecessor to this Gridman Universe movie that these characters are from are a year after the TV show, which I did watch, at least part of. I'm not super into that, like the classic, think almost like Voltron, right? Like that style. And if anything, like characters are definitely at younger age. Here, next official thing, next Gridman Universe, Gridman X Dine Zenon theatrical Xenon theatrical animation. So then they had a follow up to Gridman, which was Xenon. It looks like, and then they're having a combination of those two. Now, what that reminds me of is Gunbuster. I think, okay, because you remember, like, Trigger is a spin-off. I was wondering, Trigger is a spin-off of Gynax, basically big names. I forget the names of them. Big name and or names. I think it was name. At Gynax, started up Trigger. Basically because Gynax hasn't been doing anything in forever. Right? When you have a big name in a studio like that basically nobody can say no to you. So whether or not it's correct or not, it gets yes. Like if they want to do that or they think it should be done. Some of Trigger's stuff due to that, I think, has gone too far. Also, a lot of their stuff I tend to not enjoy because it's almost too perfectly done. As in, if you come from, like, I've watched all of Gynax backlog, like all of their stuff, right? You know what's going to happen in Trigger, right? Some people give Trigger with Kill a Kill as reinvigorating the anime hobby or the anime itself. And I wouldn't necessarily disagree with you there, but Kill a Kill is basically like 120% trope, if that makes sense. Like, if you know what they're basically writing it to perfection, exactly what you want. Other ones that run into that are BNA, where it follows tropes so exactly, which apparently some people really like. That stuff is like, it gives them exactly what they want, and it does it perfectly, almost beautifully. But a lot of Trigger stuff does that. Like, as in, here's the other thing, though. Trigger does generally make a lot of anime that no other studio would make, and in many cases, anime from that genre doesn't exist. Now, this style of stuff, where you have, like, merch that is, like, this is off of a movie. There is an entire 6-character collection of figures using artwork that, as far as I'm aware, or in designs that, as far as I'm aware, aren't anywhere in that show. It's crazy. These designs is what I would attribute them to is, like I said, in openings and endings of anime, you might see characters in more casual clothing. And you never see that. Maybe in one episode you'll see them, like, I know a lot of people call filler. You'll see them like on their off day going shopping or something, and you might see that. But you would never see, like, there'd have to be some event that they would give them completely new outfits, like some change, right? So that's where because there's a language barrier there, and I have not researched it very heavily. So if any of you know, like, what spawned did these new character models, designs, outfits, theme only come because of the partnership between ZOZOTOWN and Gridman Universe? Is there a why, right? Or are they going to be using something else? Now, that doesn't have to be the thing. Like, if these characters are just super popular on their own, I mean, look at Evangelion, and Miku, right? And those all get different themes. Like, they'll get completely different outfits 2 decades after they were, like, truly relevant, because they're just ingrained into the, like, society and that sort of stuff. But then I'm trying to think of others where, like I said, I'm not super into the figures, and I know that a lot of figures have alternate outfits that Are there like especially swimsuit ones or bunny suit ones or like and I am you can have those if you want. I am not interested at all. That is why when I saw something like this where you have an entire set of them that it like because you'll see bunny suit ones often from certain anime that basically all the girls just get bunny suits and then you buy your favorite girl in the bunny suit. And they all just have or they all have made outfits, right? This is different in that they all have similar style, but they're all different. Like it's not just and if, to be truthful, the further you go, like the two that are getting released together, these two seem more similar than say this one does to the next one, if that makes any sense. But they're all like if you notice, it's like baggy bottom, tight top in this case. Then we go from has a sweater but taking it off to tight fitting sweater covering up the head. Then we can go on some of the other ones where they have baggy top and tight bottom. Or they show skin up top on these, they show skin on the bottom on the other ones. It's like I said, variations of a theme. They all fit together very, very well. If any of you can think of other sets like this, please let me know. I was just blown away. Also, I'm a sucker for the stylization because this is right in my wheelhouse, right? Because of the era it comes from, and what it is definitely a modernized play on that though as well. Because if you go back to like what I'm at least thinking this is based on, these weren't the exact ones. Like there are definitely some modern things that have kind of come into this the current character designs. Also with some of the stuff that they have on these, it is very fashion like not practical, and you see that with fashion design companies where besides at a fashion show or in a place at which you wear high fashion, you would never see somebody dressed like that. You might see a variation of this, but you would not see them dressed like that. Now I don't exist or go to the places in which, like, okay, I know it's a thing that people do again now because this was a thing that was done in the 90s where you just wear a sports bra. Like, that's your top, right? How many places is that acceptable in? Right? That's where we start getting into fashion. Like, at least in my opinion. For those of you that are here more for the fashion part or understand that more than I only understand fashion generally tangentially and how it relates to like pop music, and I don't even generally follow too many pop artists, but when I see the trends start popping up at festivals, in music videos, because also I don't live in Japan. Remember, I'm seeing this like second or third hand. Like that's how I generally see this stuff when it happens. And then often the stuff you'll see in Japan, you'll then see in the US in 6 to 18 months. Some of that stuff is sped up. What's funny though is fashion goes that way, but then like they always wanted our Levi jeans that go that way. And stuff like that. So it's even though that like they're setting often Japan, and Japan sets trends not only in fashion for certain parts of the U.S. and that sort of stuff, but also if you look at economically, they're like a sped up version of the U.S. So where they are, that's where we're going to be in. I forget if I say 10 years. I think it might be closer to 5, but generally you can look to them, especially because they have an aging populace, but it's far more aging than we do. We have an aging populace. We have more people. Some of these things just take longer to occur. They, however, have a far more densely populated thing. So stuff just happens faster. They had a financial crisis right before we did in 2008. They were fixed by then, mostly, so they could take advantage of that and not be crushed by it as much. Still had issues. So that sort of stuff you can see from Japan. Also, similar things with fashion that at least go to, like, Harajuku and a bunch of this other stuff. That stuff does generally end up into like New York and LA fashion. I don't follow those things, so a lot of you could be, no, it happens way quicker. If running, it's kind of like music. What you like when you know of a popular song, it's probably been out for upwards of a year, unless you follow that artist or at least that genre. Like, if a song is popular enough for it to come on the radio when you're in a store, I'd say you're 6 to 8 months at a minimum. It's been out, if not 2 years, because that's when, like, if it's coming up on a thing where you're hearing it regularly, either on the radio or now some of that may have shifted a little bit, right? But so then people have their memory of like when it actually came out and when they remember it being from, like, being popular and that sort of stuff. Generally that's like quite a bit after when it actually came out, because it takes time. Now in the current world with the internet, things are sped up, right? A little bit more, but it's still surprisingly long amount of time for that stuff to happen. It's by no means instantly. Also, a lot of the early anime favorites that people remember from probably watching on Adult Swim and Cartoon Network in the late 2000s are actually from the early to mid 2000s, because for the longest time, the US could not get an anime. Even once we got into the Blu-ray era, the soonest we could get it, unless they got an exception somehow, was a year, because they basically needed that anime to be irrelevant. And then what they mean is year from completed release. And in some cases, it would need to be like release of that DVD or Blu-ray set, like completed release of that. It would have to be a year, because they are so worried about reverse importation, right? That is no longer the case, because we literally have simul-subbed and even simul-dubbed stuff. Now, simul-dub, it being same day doesn't always happen. Often that's like 1 day later. Pretty common to see that a week later, like within a week. Within 2 weeks isn't too bad either. I would still call that simulcasting. A lot of people were like, oh, that's not, because it's like, bro, it used to be a year before we could even get a license. And that's why, like, a lot of people are thinking, like, oh, your Trigun and your Cowboy Bebop, and it's from like the like maybe mid to late 2000s. Actually, a lot of that's from 03, 04, maybe 05, and we got it in like probably not even 06, 07, 08, 09, 10, depending on what you're talking about. So back then there was probably a 2-year gap. And then if you didn't see it on the thing, you would have to wait for it to become popular, because back then it was all about watching. Have you watched the classics? Have you kept up? Because that's what the ones people would discuss. You weren't watching seasonal. There was some people were, but I would generally watch after a season's done. If I was watching that close, it wasn't until second season of what is it? Isekai is actually what brought me back with Slime. I'm trying to remember the full name of Slime. But main Slime anime, giant Isekai on like season 4 or 5 now. Season 2 is what brought me back, because I watched season 1 and I was like, holy crap, I need more. Oh, that's next season. I'm going to start watching it. I watched that then for that season. Didn't watch anything else. That was the only one, because I was still a season or 2 behind. But after that, I picked up like 4 shows the following season that I was actually watching. Maybe not like I do now, where it's literally the day it comes out, but within a week or two. I'd let it build up a little bit because I was only watching 4 shows, and I'd want to be able to sit down and watch. Watch a couple episodes or watch like 4 shows or something like that all in one sitting. Even I now watch seasonal anime. But I do tend to, when I watch it seasonally, not kind of go out of my comfort zone, unless somebody pokes me and says, hey, you have to see this one. And Gridman was one, or getting back to there, Gridman was one that it's Trigger. I'll always check out an anime from Studio Trigger. They have some really unique and cool stuff, but for some reason with Studio Trigger stuff, it's so samey, because once they get into their like swing of the season, like because it's all classic trope based. It's kind of like if you watch now, you would go and watch fuck, my brain's farting here. Romance anime. Kimiguri Orange Road. You watch that now, people are like, this is boring. This is like, I've seen this before in every other anime. That is the anime that made those. That's why you know them, is because it was the anime that introduced them, right? But watching that now, if you're not watching it through that lens, knowing like, hey, this is where it came from, and actually the animation on there is really good for the era, in my opinion. As somebody who watched, I want to say I only had 1 disc of it that I had acquired through means. Super interesting. But if you show that to a person now that watches like what I'd say like a rom-com anime, or even like I kind of split off slice of life and everyday life. If you watch like an everyday life romance anime, I wouldn't say it's drama. I think it might slightly fall under that, but like think of like Golden Time. Most of the things in Golden Time that it's basing its storytelling off of were done in Kimigure Orange Road. It set all those, basically. Like the certain type of the thing of like going to the certain things for a date, working at the same place, going to the aquarium, like, and all this stuff happened in real life and stuff, but it's like what went through all of, and the stuff that would happen at them, all of that goes back to that, basically. That's why I was kind of interested in these, is because I haven't seen, like I said, such a significant stylization of something like this outside of maybe an OP or an ED in who frickin' knows how long. I want to say, what was that one, the one shooter anime that was a direct oh crap, I should know that one. Brain. Where they're like spies, but they're girls, they have guns. I'm trying to remember the name of that. Like they had different outfits in like more casual, because they're always in their uniforms in the actual anime, except for like probably the last episode. They had the ED was them in sort of like everyday wear, and that's where some of this stuff comes from. And I know some of those get made into figures. So this has kind of been a talk on... So yeah, if you know more, like, how this came together and why it came together. Did they come together because they're like, hey, we just want to do... like, I didn't think Gridman, specifically Gridman Universe, was that big in order to warrant this. Maybe I'm missing out. I need to watch I should probably watch the full SSS Gridman, and then watch Gridman Universe, and then watch the follow up of that. The what was it? SSS Dyna Xeon. Because there was the combination movie, right? Crap, I'm trying to remember what that one, Spy Girl High School anime? Not Spy Classroom. You and me were Princess Principal, Spy Family Classroom, Session 8. Licorice Recoil. There you go. So you almost always see them in their uniforms, not in their like alternate stuff. So generally, from at least what I remember of, I don't know, been out of the, like back when I knew more people that got figures and stuff like that, and followed some of that, I don't want to say industry, but like people who got those. The alt outfit, like alt art Pokemon cards, are generally worth more. Alt outfit figures were the one. Like, why get the basic B? Like the basic one, that's their normal outfit. That is boring as frick. Oh, this one's a little bit more obvious. She's tall too by comparison. So here you go. She's a tall, cool one. So this is also why I don't want to pull this apart. Just like the other one, you have protection, like little foam protection from its own plastic housing. Then you have some shrink wrap or sticky stuff in there on the front side protecting her. So I do appreciate that they have little like face holes so you can still see their face. I am, as you can probably tell, I am not super into the figurine. Like, I don't collect these all the time and blah, 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 blah. No, I got in specifically for these and will probably get out unless something similar happens again. I don't have the room for it. No, like the other thing with these is, yes, they're showing a little bit of skin. For the type, like I said, if you're into fashion, that's not an unreasonable amount by any means, in my opinion. You could tell me I'm wrong. But whereas a lot of the figures start to get into, even if the anime wasn't a bit ecchi, the figures will go. Because say they can't promote the... this is somebody already spending a lot of money after the fact. So they can kind of... it's a fan's fan, basically, that's buying figures. I don't know if your average fan is going to go out and do that. But a lot of those I wouldn't dare put on a shelf around here. Not that I want them or want to see them. I know people that have them are like, oh yeah, that's I gotta be able to remove the skirt and stuff like that. Like, not my jam. Just not what I'm into. You know what I mean? So that's why when I saw like proper like fashion clothing on a figure of, it's girls of different heights, styles, and they make them fit. And like I said, I haven't watched the show enough at all, especially Gridman Universe, which is the movie follow-up, to understand how these might apply to their characters. Like if this is the cool, classy one with a little bit of sex appeal, like that sort of thing. I don't know enough to comment on that, like why they chose these outfits for these characters. I do think, though, having seen all of the like renders for them or the initial like when you pre-order them, you can see the like the first ones they made or whatever, you know, like this is what it'll look like, blah 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 blah. That they did a very good job of, and at least as far as I can tell, these seem super high quality. Ones of this price should be. That's why they're packaged as well as they are. I want to say there's generally a tier above this, but in this 20,000 yen price class, I want to say that's there's, I believe there's ones if you add another 0, and then there's also ones that are like getting into the thousands that start to be like the life size heads, or the life, or like half scale, where you start getting like just stupid big, right? Those get stupid expensive. But you know, from my understanding, this is going to be a high quality figure. I mean, to me it looks like it, but I am not one that has a bunch of these to compare. I definitely never saw the purpose of, like, I get like the freebie figures that came with limited edition games. I would kind of keep those as little trinkets around. And while I was working at GameStop, which was during some of the best years ever for game releases, there was a lot of them. I even, and I don't know what happened to him because I can't find him, but I had like the Big Daddy from BioShock, which a lot of people said was like painted poorly, and people were like repainting him and stuff like that. But he was minus, I guess, the paint, which was a bit dull compared to what people were looking at, or the complexity compared to what was originally showed off. Which, by the way, if you guys have ever had limited edition games in, like, I forget if it was like Fallout, the online one, which was 76, where they were supposed to have this like really nice canvas bag, and they ended up just shipping like a nylon one that was garbage. That's pretty normal for limited edition games. As somebody who worked in the retail industry for a number of years, and then worked at Best Buy after that. But yeah, especially working at GameStop the years I did, when you would actually get a limited edition that was truly quality, people blew up with it, and you couldn't, like, you know, you generally have a couple extras around the store, or people that didn't come and pick it up. Yeah, nobody missed picking it up. You had no extras around the store. But then you get these ones that kind of like shitty extras, and yeah, some people might not even come and get their version of it. And like with the Fallout 76, they showed off like a really nice canvas bag, and with how much the upcharge was, it would have actually made sense to pay that money if you just needed like a canvas bag like that. Because theoretically, if they like, you know, the way that they talked about it, if I recall, there was a lawsuit or a class action about that even. Like, it would have been worth it. You know, just for a base, like a bag of that style, like, oh, and I'll get it themed like the thing I like. Except I can tell you that very, very rarely, like 1 out of 10 of any of those limited edition things were actually any good. I think one of the few things I have is I have a figurine from Dot Hack GU. I forget which. It's the main character. It's not with his upgraded sword things. Which I was playing that game a couple months ago, so I want to get back into it. But God, that reminded me of how long the intros to these JRPGs are. I played for an hour and a half and just got through the initial, like, hey, you can actually just go and do stuff finally. Oh, and by that time I had to be done, and I haven't played it since, sadly. So I'm probably going to have forgotten all of the controls and shit again. That's what happens to me, and why I don't tend to play games. But yeah, so that's been my main experience, and those are usually like second rate. I don't know if I would compare them to, like, a lot of people get the cheaper figurines that come out of claw machines. I don't know if I would compare, like, apparently some of those have been getting better, but then they've also recently, like, must have found a new way, because I watch what's his face, I'm forgetting his name. It's one of the guys from that one podcast. I'm sure if you're into anime, you know what I'm talking about. Brain is farting. Here you go. Sea Dog VA. He does the uh, the crane game things where he gets a bunch. He'll go in there, spend so much money with his guest, and then they'll go over what they get after. They were showing on how they've kind of switched manufacturing, and they're like almost molded as like one piece, so they look better, but they're made cheaper. I'm not gonna say like a limited edition game has figures that cheap, but they're definitely not. I remember you're spending, say back in the day, if a game was $50, you'd be spending $70-$80 for the limited edition, right? So you're getting a $20-$30 figure in there max, not a $200 figure. Oh, see that is also why I never collected figures before, because for me that is 1 to 2 rare DVD/Blu-ray box sets, and that is 4 like ones bought on release. Per figure. And you might be able to tell, but ignore the stacks of GPUs and Optane cards and network cards. Well, there's music up top, but yeah, I would rather have the anime. Yeah, there's a random that 2080 is actually in there. I would rather have the anime personally, because that is what I'm into. Like, people are like, I do have some manga in the other room, but I'm not in the manga, which is why when people are like, oh, that's not done like a manga, so it's wrong, and I'm like, once again, it's not. And it's not just because I'm not in the manga, but it's because it has to be changed for the medium it is done on. If that's done correctly, which a lot of, until recently, the live action ones weren't. But I would argue that One Piece and Yu Yu Hakusho were done amazingly. I would actually argue that Yu Yu Hakusho was, like, One Piece got corrected in its pacing, and Yu Yu Hakusho, like, they cut out the fluff. Holy. And why does that matter? Well, it's because when you read a manga, there's so many chapters, right? So you're reading a chapter at a time. It comes in a week, or you're reading it in a volume that you're buying once it's out, right? Then when it comes to anime, you're doing 20 to 23-minute episodes. Some of them can vary a little bit. They'll extend the opening and ending if needed. But then when you watch a Netflix live action, it's an hour. So that is why they have to change shit up, because it would not show as an hour. I know on The Mandalorian, they tried doing where not everything is an hour because it doesn't matter anymore, or everything's not a half hour. And then, but people, it turns out viewers didn't like it. They basically just made the episode as long as it needed to be to tell the story. And that could be anywhere from, like, I want to say some of them were like 30, like one was 36 minutes, one was like 40 something. But they're used to sitting down, like, hey, we're going to sit down on Sunday and watch The Mandalorian for an hour. And then one of the episodes, I want to say, was an hour and a half. That's a movie. People might not have been ready to sit down for a movie. So I think that's why they still cut them down to be like show length. Or some are, it's like 45, 50 minutes if you're going to be doing it for network TV, because it's going to have commercials in there. But yeah, traditionally, that's what I would have bought. Is I feasibly, in my brain, like, there would be people who complain to me, or like they want to watch more anime and stuff, and then they would go at conventions and buy a $200 figure or $120 figure, or a, and I'm like, bro, even an $80 one, that's like 2 cheaper series, like full series that you could have bought. But teach their own. I guess I'm finally dipping my toes in, and it's because this is ZOZO Black series for Gridman Universe. Like, I saw that and I'm like, I want to know more now because I saw the figure on Twitter. They had a pretty high res one they were sharing, and I was very intrigued. And I'm like, that's a unique outfit. I have not seen that in an anime. What anime is this from? Why don't I know about it? Is it some weird Disney release, because those catch me out, or Netflix release, because I don't tend to look at Netflix for anime, so when they're Netflix exclusive, I miss them, even though I have Netflix. And also, it's like I don't go there at the end of the night to watch anime. So I have to like go out of my way, which is generally I'm going to go there either when the series is done, or I'll go once I have a couple episodes. Just because I can't just be like, oh, I'm going to watch an episode of this, an episode of that. I have to be like, I am getting, I'm going to watch a couple episodes, and then let's switch to Netflix and go and watch an episode. Because I watched like say 2 to 4 other shows that night, and then I have to switch. Well, Gertrude has shown up, and I think that means it's time to go to sleep. Yeah. Are you purring? Yeah. I don't even know if this is in camera. You'll have to let me know. But she's being very cute. So, I think we're done for the night. Let me know, what do you think about the figures I picked up? Whether or not they're worth it is that to me, yes. I've never said that before about a figure, to my knowledge. I can understand Gunpla because that's at least like a hobby. You're doing something, right? But these and like in my head, I imagine these being in a shadow box. Let me know if you think that's the correct way I should display them. But I definitely want to make some sort of thing for them because I don't want them to get covered in dust, and I want to be able to display them because I really do think they're that cool. Decently sized. And what I was hinting at is I think that Fig ML090 Fig would mean figure because it already has Fragile on the box as well, printed right on the box. So I find it interesting that CD Japan must sell enough figures to get figure boxes. Like I said, this is one thing where I say I'm an enthusiast of everything. This is a place where I am a brand new little baby duck. Unlike Gertrude here, who is a granny kitty. I've never even dipped my toes into this area before. So, comments, questions, suggestions. All the other two sets, the 2 sets of 2 are on order, so you'll be seeing them. And then once I have those and I have a place designated, I will actually be opening them up, and I'll probably I don't know if I'll make a video on like how I'm going to do that, but I'll at least be making a video once they're like that, so you can actually take a look at the figures themselves in more detail. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. Like, if you know more of where this ZOZO Black thing came from with Gridman Universe, or why it happened. Like, I didn't know Gridman Universe was a big enough thing to constitute that, to make that happen. Also, any other anime that you can think of that had a similar thing like this happen, where they have a completely different line of like fashion and character design that is exclusive to the figures, or it could be other products as well. I just find that's super intriguing. So hopefully we'll see in the next one. That was the last planned box, but I did find see that box down there? I know what that is. That's a clock. That's a big clock. 2 big clocks, actually. And it's been like a year since I ordered them. I need to open them. But that cardboard box on top of there, I have no freaking clue what that is. That's probably bad. And then down there, that thing down there, that might be the newer version of that, not the tape deck, the thing above it, Moondrop. So we do have some other interesting videos coming, And that is without anything else coming in. And there should be some more coming in on Monday or Tuesday. Hit that subscribe button. I appreciate all you guys that did at the 500 when I posted about it. Hopefully you enjoy this content and there's something here for you. This may not be the video for you, but maybe one of my other ones is. Peace.